the process for making mead is insanely simple. Honey mixed with water, with yeast to turn it into alcohol.
Vermont is known for its selection of craft beer. Here at Groenfell Meadery in Colchester, there is another type of craft beverage hitting Vermont shelves.
Mead is an alcoholic beverage made from honey. So beer starts with grain, cider starts with apples, wine, generally speaking, starts with grapes. Mead has to start with honey as the fermentable.
Ricky and his wife Kelly grew up in Delaware. They met at Middlebury College. They started Groenfell Meadery about 5 years ago. They've been expanding their selection of mead as well as the services they offer ever since.
Things we've made, everything from beer to cider to sake to sauerkraut to cheese, anything. We like to play with that stuff. But professionally, we decided to go with mead, and it was partly because Vermont's beer scene was so full. There was so much good beer. We didn't think we needed to add to that. But we were seeing that as cider was picking up steam in Vermont, we saw that potentially people here could realize, oh, there's more than one craft beverage. There's not just beer, there's also cider, and maybe we can start to introduce mead.
So a lot of people have, if they have any thoughts about mead in the back of their minds, they think Vikings. A lot of people think Robin Hood. It does show up in Beowulf. It also shows up in The Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and it is the national beverage of Ethiopia. It is the oldest known fermented beverage in China. Anywhere that people had apiaries, access to honey, they have made mead. And part of that is the simplicity. Honey plus water plus yeast. It was the purest sugar source that most people knew.
Mead has a rich past. Ricky and Kelly are bringing it back with some Vermont style.
So the question of where we fit in the craft world is an open question. We actually have two different brands we brew out of here. We're very open about that fact. I am currently the head brewer for both, though I am handing one of them off to my current assistant brewer. But we have Groenfell Mead, which is our original one, and Havoc Mead. There are differences between the two brands. Mostly Groenfell are classic recipes, historical recipes, and Havoc I get to do whatever the heck I want. But since there was no competition, no one knew where to put us. So we helped create the mead shelf that now other meaderies can come and join.
While mead may be made with honey, what the Kleins produce isn't always sweet.
So what we make is different from a lot of the other mead on the market. We make a craft mead, so it comes in cans, which look like your beer or your cider. It's got a little bit of light carbonation. It has beer cider strength as far as the alcohol content goes, and it's not sweet. A lot of mead on the market is very sweet. People think honey, they think sweet, but of course your wines don't have to be sweet, even though grape juice is sweet.
Mead isn't the only taste of Nordic culture on tap here. There's also a full menu to feed your inner Viking.
Part of the thing too is just sitting and drinking is not actually how we wanted people to experience our mead. We wanted to have food. We wanted to have a full experience of community coming together, enjoying a meal together. There's something about that that's not simply about alcohol or even about getting calories into your body. There's something that is much more meaningful and enjoyable about sitting down with people. And the Scandinavian-inspired food we have, we try to use only Viking-era ingredients just to keep it fun, really works well with our product, bringing this idea of feasting, which we feel like mead is a perfect drink for. A lot of people have been coming here specifically because of the food and not because they have a particular interest in the mead we make, and so that's been really neat too. We feel like we're providing something that you can't get anywhere else.
But mead is something that is special in people's minds, and I don't think it will ever go away. It is a beverage that is meant for feasting, and that's not really an experience most people have anymore. So as our culture turns back towards each other, which I see coming as people jump off of Facebook and start looking at each other again, I think mead will actually have a place pre-built in, steins of it, horns of it, around a big table or a fire.
Half a decade in, Groenfell Mead has found its place in Vermont's craft beverage landscape.
So I think that the fact that I didn't know a lot of things and I learned from trial and error that's where I am and that's how I got here. And if I knew even a little bit more about what I was in for, I think I would have gotten scared and balked. So I'm glad that I didn't know, and I'm glad that it gave me, a false bravery to actually just go ahead and do something, and I'm really glad that I have done that.
Mead is something that's still open for you to write your own story around, and I think a lot of people should take that advantage because it doesn't come around very often.
An ancient beverage in a new setting. So heed your inner Viking and raise a stein to Mead. In Colchester, I'm Joseph Couture with Across the Fence.